Abu Trica might have some very good news if his accomplices are freed, and possibly he might also get some freedom now that the FBI is finding it difficult to pull any evidence against him. Except leaning on one of their informants, whom Abu Trica once ripped during a fraudulent business transaction. A quiet but significant development at the Gbese District Court has once again pulled the name Abu Trica back into the public spotlight, reminding observers that some cases refuse to fade away quietly. In proceedings that unfolded without drama but with serious legal weight, the court directed the Interior Ministry to submit additional information regarding arrest warrants linked to individuals described as alleged accomplices of Abu Trica. The court granted a 5-week window for this information to be furnished, a move that signals unresolved questions at the heart of an already complex and controversial case. This directive is not a routine administrative request. It is a judicial demand for clarity, accountability, and documentation in a matter that has grown far beyond one individual. At its core, the case touches on issues of transnational crime, law enforcement coordination, due process, and the growing pressure on state institutions to demonstrate seriousness in tackling organized criminal networks. Abu Trica, whose name has circulated in security and cybercrime conversations for years, is often described by investigators and analysts as a central figure in a broader alleged network rather than a lone operator. While the courts have yet to determine guilt, the volume of references, investigations, and alleged associates linked to his name has made him a symbol of a particular era of cyber-enabled crime in Ghana and beyond. The Gbese District Court's insistence on further details from the Interior Ministry suggests that questions remain about how arrest warrants were issued, who exactly they target, and whether proper procedures were followed. In cases involving alleged accomplices, especially those believed to operate across borders, documentation becomes everything. Without it, arrests collapse, prosecutions weaken, and public confidence erodes. According to sources familiar with the matter, the court is seeking clarity on the identities of the alleged accomplices, the legal basis for the warrants, the jurisdictions involved, and the steps taken to execute or enforce those warrants. These are not trivial details. In transnational crime cases, procedural errors can undo years of investigative work. To understand why this matters, one must understand who Abu Trica is alleged to be and why his name continues to surface long after initial arrest and investigations. Abu Trica is widely believed by investigators to have been involved in sophisticated cyber-enabled operations that went beyond petty scams. Allegations surrounding him often include organized fraud, coordination of digital operations, recruitment of operatives, and links to financial channels designed to move money quickly and quietly. The renewed focus on Abu Trica at the Gbese District Court has forced many observers to revisit the origins of the case and the long trail of allegations, investigations, and unanswered questions that surround his name. For years, Abu Trica has existed in a gray zone of Ghana's cybercrime narrative, well known to security agencies and online communities, widely discussed in whispers and social media threads, yet never fully unpacked in open court in a way that closes the chapter decisively. That unresolved status is precisely why the court's recent directive matters so much. From the outset, Abu Trica was never portrayed by investigators as a lone actor operating on impulse. Rather, he was repeatedly described as someone who allegedly understood systems, people, and weaknesses. Those who have followed the case closely say his alleged strength was not technical brilliance alone, but coordination. The suggestion has always been that he knew how to place people where they were most useful, how to keep distance between himself and direct execution, and how to exploit the lag between crime and consequence in the digital age. This is where the issue of alleged accomplices becomes critical. In organized cybercrime, accomplices are not optional extras. They are the infrastructure. Someone sources SIM cards and accounts. Someone else handles device procurement. Others manage money movement, whether through mobile money, bank transfers, or layered intermediaries. There are those who recruit, those who train, and those who clean up digital footprints. If Abu Trica is to be understood in full, it cannot be done without examining the people alleged to have operated around him. The Gbese District Court's request for further information from the Interior Ministry of Ghana suggests that the court is not satisfied with broad assertions. It wants specifics. Who are these alleged accomplices? Where are they believed to be? What evidence links them to the principal suspect? When were warrants issued? And under what authority? These questions are the backbone of any credible prosecution, especially when liberty and reputation are at stake. Legal analysts note that Ghanaian courts have become increasingly assertive in demanding procedural rigor in complex criminal cases. This is partly a response to past experiences where high-profile cases collapsed because of technical errors, missing documentation, or unclear chains of authority. In cybercrime matters, where evidence is often digital and suspects may be mobile or transnational, the margin for error is even smaller. Abu Trica's name gained notoriety during a period when Ghana was grappling with an explosion of cyber-related offenses. Mobile money fraud, online impersonation, and email compromise schemes were becoming common, yet enforcement frameworks were still catching up. In that environment, certain figures emerged as symbols of a broader problem, whether fairly or not. Abu Trica became one of those names, repeatedly linked in intelligence reports and online discussions to alleged operations that extended beyond Ghana's borders. What complicates matters further is the way cybercrime culture often blurs reality and myth. Online personas are exaggerated. Stories grow with repetition. Enemies and rivals amplify claims. For investigators and courts, separating fact from noise becomes a major challenge. That is why documentation matters more than reputation. A court does not act on rumors. It acts on evidence, warrants, and sworn affidavits. The alleged accomplices now under scrutiny are believed, according to security sources, to have played various roles at different times. Some are said to have handled logistics within Ghana. Others allegedly operated remotely, coordinating communications or financial flows from outside the country. If true, this would place the case squarely within the realm of transnational crime, triggering the need for cooperation with foreign law enforcement agencies and adherence to international legal standards. This is also where the Interior Ministry's role becomes sensitive. As the coordinating body for internal security and international cooperation, it must ensure that any arrest warrant linked to alleged accomplices meets both Ghanaian legal standards and the expectations of foreign partners. A poorly framed warrant can be rejected abroad. An unclear request can stall extradition. A lack of detail can raise red flags about due process. The court's 5-week deadline is therefore not merely administrative. It is a signal that patience has limits. The judiciary is effectively saying, if the state believes these individuals are connected to serious crimes, it must demonstrate that belief with clear, lawful, and verifiable information. Anything less risks undermining the credibility of the entire case. Public reaction to the development has been mixed. Some see it as a necessary step toward accountability, a sign that the system is finally closing in on figures long believed to be untouchable. Others worry that delays and requests for more information suggest institutional weakness or lack of preparedness. Both perspectives reflect a deeper frustration with how cybercrime cases often drag on without resolution. What cannot be ignored is the broader context in which this case sits. Ghana is under increasing international pressure to demonstrate seriousness in combating cybercrime. Financial institutions, foreign governments, and international watchdogs are watching how cases are handled. A single high-profile failure can have ripple effects affecting trust, cooperation, and even investment. At the same time, the rights of suspects and alleged accomplices must be protected. The danger in cases built around notorious names is that public opinion can run ahead of the law. Courts exist precisely to slow that process down, to demand proof where society demands punishment. The Gebese District Court's intervention can therefore be read not as obstruction, but as enforcement of balance. Abu Trica's story, as it stands, is incomplete. It is a story of allegations that refuse to die, of networks that are said to exist but must still be proven, and of a justice system trying to assert control over crimes that move faster than traditional law enforcement. Whether the Interior Ministry's forthcoming submission clarifies the picture or deepens the mystery remains to be seen. What is certain is that the next few weeks matter. The information provided will shape the direction of the case, determine whether alleged accomplices are formally pursued, and signal how seriously Ghana intends to treat complex cybercrime prosecutions going forward. For observers, this is not just about Abu Trica. It is about whether the system can match the sophistication of the crimes it seeks to punish. As the deadline approaches, the silence around the details grows louder. In cases like this, absence of clarity feeds speculation, and speculation feeds distrust. The court has drawn a line. The state must now respond. And until it does, the name Abu Trica remains suspended between allegation and adjudication, a reminder that in the digital age, justice is often a marathon, not a sprint. What separates Abu Trica from the stereotypical image of an online scammer is the skill and structure alleged in his operations. Security analysts have repeatedly suggested that his influence, at its peak, extended beyond Ghana, touching networks in West Africa, Europe, and North America. This is precisely why any case linked to his name attracts scrutiny, not just locally, but internationally. The alleged accomplices now at the center of the Gbes District Court's directive are believed to form part of this wider network. Some are said to have handled logistics, others communications, and others financial routing. Again, these remain allegations until proven in court, but the pattern is consistent with how organized cybercrime groups operate globally. The Interior Ministry's role in this matter is critical. As the institution responsible for internal security coordination, immigration oversight, and cooperation with international law enforcement bodies, its documentation and responses carry legal and diplomatic weight. The court's 5-week deadline is therefore not generous. It is deliberate. It places pressure on the ministry to either substantiate the warrants or explain deficiencies. Legal observers note that courts rarely issue such directives lightly. When they do, it often reflects concerns about gaps in information already presented or inconsistencies that require correction before proceedings can advance. In the Abu Trica matter, these concerns appear tied to whether alleged accomplices are properly identified, lawfully pursued, and fairly treated under Ghanaian law. The case also raises broader questions about how Ghana handles high-profile alleged cybercrime figures. In the past, critics have accused institutions of either moving too slowly or acting without sufficient transparency. This judicial intervention may be an attempt to strike balance, enforcing the law while protecting due process. Public interest in Abu Trica's case remains high, precisely because it sits at the intersection of crime, technology, and power. Cybercrime cases often feel distant to ordinary citizens until they realize how deeply such networks affect everyday life. Fraud drains savings, undermines trust in digital systems, damages Ghana's international reputation, and creates suspicion that spills over onto innocent citizens and businesses. In this context, the Gebese District Court's insistence on procedural correctness is not a technicality. It is foundational. A flawed arrest process can allow alleged criminals to walk free. A weak extradition request can collapse international cooperation. A poorly documented warrant can expose the state to legal embarrassment. What makes the Abu Trica case even more sensitive is its alleged international dimension. Any accomplices believed to be outside Ghana's borders would require cooperation with foreign governments, international police organizations, and judicial systems that demand airtight documentation. This is where many cases stumble. The 5-week window given to the Interior Ministry is therefore a test. It will reveal whether Ghana's security and legal institutions have the depth, coordination, and discipline required to pursue complex cases to their conclusion. It will also determine whether this matter proceeds toward resolution or sinks further into procedural limbo. For now, Abu Trica remains a name wrapped in allegation, speculation, and unfinished business. He represents both the ambition of modern cybercrime networks and the challenges states face in dismantling them. Every court appearance, every directive, every document requested pulls another thread in a story that is far from over. As the clock ticks on the Interior Ministry's deadline, attention will remain firmly fixed on what is submitted, what is omitted, and what questions remain unanswered. The court has spoken clearly. The next move belongs to the state, and in cases like this, silence is never neutral.